This is like somebody should do what they did in this film and put it as a course in college. Because, minus except for the killing part, the scary part.
Spoilers.
Yeah, or the killing, or the not killing, or. We're back.
Nope.
Oh, we're back.
I'm Susan Ayers.
I'm Lon Shima.
I'm Patty Smith.
Jorge Sanchez.
Okay, so the movies this week are PK, The Electric State, Heretic, The Last Showgirl. So this week we're, Patty.
Yep. My movie is The Heretic with Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, and Chloe East. These three people hold up the entire movie. It's directed by Scott Beck and Byron Woods. And it's really done in this 1 or 2 rooms, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, it could be a play.
Yeah, it's all set up for drama. And it's tense all the way through because you know something bad's going to happen, but it's never the thing that happens. So what happens is these 2 young girls, they're missionaries for Latter-day Saints, Mormons. And they come to, what's his name? Mr. Reed's house, which is Hugh Grant. And he's very interested in learning about their religion. So they go in, and even though they ask if there is a woman present, he says his wife. And you don't see the wife, so you're like, where's the wife? You know, you're always got that in the back of your mind.
She's baking blueberry pies or something. She's baking blueberry.
But Hugh Grant is so delightful that he makes everything seem normal, even though his place looks creepy, the weather's creepy. He just makes it like a little ray of sunshine. So what they do is, and I'm not going to go into detail because it's a thriller and it'll kill it. So basically what happens overall is he tests them on their faith. And he has step-by-step of how he tests them. It's kind of brilliant what he comes up with. But I'll read what I wrote. They kind of have to defend their faith if they want to get out alive to him. Okay, so it goes through these. It goes through these. I don't know what the word is. Kind of tests that they have to overcome, not physical tests, more mental tests.
Well, he keeps making them choose things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like the 2 doors they have to go through. One door is belief and unbelief. That's how it starts out. But look, I'm trying to read this.
Testing their faith.
Yeah, really.
It's like a friend night. You have to have faith for that to work on me. It's the vampire.
Yes.
It's a tense debate over belief and reality, but also a man who really is craving ultimate control. And it seems to me he likes control over women. That, to me, is part of it. The ending is really interesting. You could take it 2 ways, but I'm not going to say it because it'll blow it. But I found this compelling, and I was like on the edge of my seat the entire time because you have no idea where it's going. George?
Oh, me. Yeah, I really enjoy this movie, actually. And I'm not a big fan of horror films or what do you call it? Scary movies. I got my fill in the 80s. I don't need to watch anything to be scared anymore. But it's just where it went. To me, I thought this movie was like a masterclass on religious studies. This is like somebody should do what they did in this film and put it as a course in college. Because, minus except for the killing part, the scary part.
Spoilers.
Yeah, or the killing, or the not killing, so because I mean it's brilliant the way, and he almost says it like he might be a professor of religious studies. He just he's questioning this course on their faith and everything and how much they know about it. how much do you know about your religion too, and the particular faith you follow? And he proceeds to give him, like, invites him over, says, my wife is cooking, or I'll be back, or whatever. But he gives this just whole history of religions and what they're based on, and how one religion followed another religion, and that religion came off another religion, and the religion came off of folklore. And then he goes into, talks about monopoly and talks about songs, I mean, copyright. So it's just unbelievable. Who wrote this stuff is just unbelievable. It was almost like, wow, this is amazing. But Hugh Grant, he's such a likable character, but he was a pretty scary guy in this movie. I mean, he was very intense, very like, oh wow, because he smiles and he's really nice. But it's just like, this guy's gonna be like, he's like a slasher or something. He played that role really well, and that's little things that, like those movies are suspenseful. Like he tells him, come in and everything. I hope you don't mind that the walls have steel in them. And like, why do I go? Oh, that means there's no phone signal.
I thought that was very strange when they made
Me too.
Well, but they didn't know. They didn't put that together.
Yeah, they don't put it together. And there's little things like, oh, the lock is on a timer. And it's just, every little thing is just very suspenseful. I mean, I was like, oh. So,
What
yeah.
does that mean?
The what?
That there was.
Well, when he tells them that the walls are made of steel, it means
cell phones.
there's not going to be no
You can't use your
cell phone
cell phone.
signal.
Oh.
It's
Yes,
like,
they didn't know either. They were like, oh, that's all right. They didn't really know.
yeah,
right?
like, so it's very suspenseful. It's really well done, actually. And just the whole, I would say, I mean, it was disturbing, but I was really fascinated. It was actually like PK too. I thought this was a very religious studies kind of
Yeah, we
episode
watched them
with
both
movies.
at the same night,
go, wow,
and we were like, boy, are we like in the religious zone here.
So, and I think Hugh Grant, I think he might have won a BAFTA for it, I think, or he was nominated for,
Yeah.
I can't remember. So,
Well, I think he was nominated for an Academy Award,
was he?
no?
Oh, I can't
No,
remember.
not
For
this year.
No?
No.
No, but I don't know BAFTA. So,
Maybe
But-
Golden Globes.
but I think, I mean, as I said, it's just a very, very well, clever writing too, just like PK. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, again, the three movies, the PK,
Heretic?
the Heretic, but the last one.
The Electric State.
Electric State.
These are not movies I would normally watch.
That's true.
Which is really funny because when I say this, it's like, oh boy, was this an amazing thriller. It was an amazing thriller. And it's something that I really think the three actors involved have everything to do with it. Their
Right.
believability. Hugh Grant always, I mean, I'm not surprised by his performance. He's always great. And he's so charming. And it was like, what's your name? It was just really scary. This was usually the movies are just really scary, but this one had an added dimension. It was very thoughtful too. I mean, he knew his stuff, but he was so British and he was so
Charming.
Huh?
He was so charming.
He was
He's
very
like a
charming,
psychopath. He can
even
have
though
that.
they were uncomfortable.
Well,
Like,
that's what they always joke, like when you have voices like speaking of AI, like GPS things, they always like to use the British accent because that's the accent that you trust the most. If you use another accent, it's like, what are you trying to tell me, the GPS? But the British, oh sure, I'll go down that alley, GPS. So.
okay, the two actors was Sophie Thatcher as Sister Barnes and Chloe East as Sister Paxton.
Yeah.
Those three were just
Carried the whole
because
movie.
really this could have been a play. It basically happens in, very limited scene change. And it's really it's kind of like everybody knows what's going on. I mean, they're uncomfortable kind of from the start, but my wife's in the kitchen baking cherry blueberry
Blueberry
pies,
Pie.
right? And he kind of lures them in. I was saying is that it's like a spider's web, where the more you try and extricate you from it, the more into it you are. He's the spider, right? The three actors are wonderful. Hugh Grant as Mr. Reed is just, I see why he was nominated. I think it was in the,
It was a BAFTA.
Was it a
Yeah.
BAFTA?
And Golden Globe.
Golden Globe,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I didn't, even though I watched the BAFTA, I didn't really look at who was, I just figured the English people are nominated in the BAFTA. Right. So, but I think he was nominated for a Golden Globe, and I totally see why he was. He is just so nuts. He's so nuts. I thought the ending was a little weak, but I still was happy when it was over. You know what I mean? I wasn't really crazy about the ending, but it was over, and that was better. Because literally, like, who said that? I was on the edge. You did.
She did. No.
I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my God. And I could see myself being in that same situation, using your own politeness, your own social.
We all go through it,
against you. And you just, and these are two young women, and they're trying to be polite and respectful, and they have no definite proof that something's wrong, but they sense it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So that was yes, I really, a good thriller that's really scary, but in a weird way. It's not scary because really bad things happen. I mean, bad things happen, but it's nothing. It's just that what suspense is that, like an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, it's very Alfred Hitchcocky.
It's suspenseful. You know, you're just like, oh, like nothing happens, but you're like, oh, I'm now one step further to
Your
craziness.
imagination more than that.
You know, exactly.
All the bad things that can happen.
Your own mind.
Yes. Okay. Is that you there?
Yes, that's what I give to, like you said, written, directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. The writing, I think, is wonderful in this movie. And you're right. I think the actors immediately, they flesh out the characters so well. Because at the beginning, you see the two young girls talking to one another.
Yeah.
And talking inappropriately about certain things. But, they're just talking openly. I thought, okay. And then later on, it's like, oh, they're Mormons. You find that out, right? But you get a sense of, in my opinion, like who seems to be the stronger character and who's the weaker character, right?
Yeah, Chloe.
So you put that in there with your stuff, right? So it's like, okay. Then they're just trying to spread the word, right? And they have appointments too. And then even their elders know what appointments they're going to, which houses. But they said, okay. So they have to go see this one guy. And I think they said, then we have one other house and then we're done for the day. So once they get to that guy, and like you said, Hugh Grant, let's face it, the guy just drips charm. The way Chris Pratt has likability, Hugh Grant has charm like you wouldn't believe.
Yes, I agree.
mean, it's amazing. So, he's friendly and this and that. And then, like you said, Patty, I think it's so fine how he keeps drawing them in. And the weird part is, it's just that I wasn't so in a suspense, but it's like, okay, what is going to happen next? You're right. I have no idea where this movie's going.
Right.
And like you all said, it's the three actors. They're well done, and the directing and the editing was really well done because it almost seems like almost gothic, like you said, because when you walk in the place, it's so sparse and it's weirdly lit. When you it's like,
and it's old.
Well, and there's no see, the first thing I noticed, because at one point, like you said, the girl said, we need a woman present. Is your wife home? And like I said, she's baking a pie. I'll try and go and convince her. So he walks out, right? And did you notice how slowly the door closed after he walks out?
No, I didn't.
And then you look around, and they're looking around and said, there's no pictures except for one in a frame of him. And there's like no flowers, no vase, nothing decorating that living room, right? So he said, wait, there's nothing feminine in that room, in my opinion. That's what I was looking at.
And also the way it felt, you would think he's going to walk in front of the mirror and there'll be no reflection.
Exactly, almost something like that. But then it's like, and like George was saying that later on it gets into the thing about religion. Now, see, that's where I thought the movie was going to be about. I thought it was going to be a cat and mouse about your belief in religion.
Right.
But on literally a intellectual debatable kind of scenario. That's how I saw that. Unfortunately, it doesn't go that way. It does get creepier and creepier. But the analogy with the Monopoly games, I thought that was wonderful. That really does show you
That's true.
almost how simple to explain religion. Those religions he points out. It's like, yeah, see, anybody would understand that in a way because everyone knows Monopoly, right?
Right.
So that's why I had to give it to the writers. I thought, wow, and I always did the thing about the Mithras thing because I always was told that the reason December 25th was Christ's birthday because Mithras, who was also a major god in the Asian culture, right? I think Persian. He was born on the 25th of December. So Christianity was sort of took all these different things and put it in there.
What I heard is that the pagans, that they celebrated the
Winter
equinoxes.
solstice.
That was
The
the winter
winter
solstice. So they couldn't get the pagans to stop, the people to stop.
There-
So
that
they just stuck
ceremony is
their
right.
holidays on top.
And that's why, we have Easter coming up. We know that's a pagan holiday because why are bunnies and eggs?
Yeah, right.
What does that mean? That means fertility, right?
It's all about chocolate. It's all about chocolate.
So, but I'm always fascinated by that. But I just thought, oh, okay, because you're right. Ultimately, it comes down to what is your belief, and he's really testing their beliefs, and that's the weird part. It's like, how far is he testing them? And it goes further down and further down. It's like, oh no, because for me there was just more feeling of dread for these poor girls, right?
Me too.
But I'm glad that one point, see, what I liked about it is how they sort of, in my opinion, respectively portrayed the Mormon girls because they did that. They were polite, but they knew something was wrong. And then they knew, even as they go down deeper, they know things are getting really bad. And I thought, good, they're not making them these stupid kind of,
Right.
with this and that. Oh, it's fine,
Yeah.
People don't behave this way, but they are still aware of how people behave. And it's not very Mormon-like. So I like that. And then it goes, like you said, I thought it goes to a sort of a odd ending, but it was not, I don't think, there are surprises, I think, at the ending. And yet I didn't mind the ending at all. I thought, in fact, I almost thought it was almost appropriate because of the way it begins. And I thought, oh, that's a great way it ends. And because of the two girls talking to one another, that's why they signal so much with the two girls talking to one another.
Right.
So, yeah, right. I was sort of surprised. And this is another movie I didn't want to watch.
Right.
I have to admit, I thought, unless it was a comedy. For some reason, I thought, oh, is this a comedy?
Yeah, because Hugh Grant is in it.
The name called the Heretic.
Exactly. But, it's like, okay. Well, that's what I thought. Is this a romantic comedy where he's going to hit on these Mormon girls or something? But I give it to the directors, and the writer-directors. They did such a good job. And the fact there were two of them, and yet they had one singular voice. That was the interesting part, too. Because even technically, the way it was filmed, edited, lighting,
Everything.
they did a really good job, I thought. Yeah.
I think it's great. And it's funny when you talk about a movie like this, and then you talk about a movie like before we were talking about the electric,
State.
right? The State, that cost $300 million.
Right.
I bet you this was not an expensive movie to make.
$10 million.
How
10
much?
million, she said.
But
yeah.
it was equally, if not more
That's
so,
what good writing
a
does.
support.
Good writing carries you with
And
everything.
good directing and good acting. It had limited actors. It had limited scenery. It had limited everything. And it was just a wonderful film.
Well, it's like most independent films when they have to be sort of ingenious in a way, so they really have to depend on sparse stuff. So it's like, okay, make every scene sort of count. And this is a movie where almost every scene really does count.
Yeah, I would put this equal to a Hitchcock movie in the ability to create suspense. And nothing's happening.
Seemingly.
But there is this feeling of something's happening or is going to happen.
Right. Well, because, it's
at
very
all
much,
times.
as I mentioned, I think I told you guys, it's a cat and mouse kind of thing.
Absolutely.
It really
Absolutely.
is. It's like he's really testing and playing with them in a way you think, where is this going? And that's the problem. It's like, I can't see where this movie was going. So,
But there was no, in a sense, from his point of view, he's just playing with them. There's no way they're getting out of this from his point of view, that he feels he has this down. And I'm sure he's done it many times before,
seemingly.
right? Seemingly.
Also,
He's a sicko.
also right from the beginning, I remember that coming, we were watching it. I was like, wow, this movie, the sound, the quietness of the dialogue, the quietness, you can hear the breeze. It feels like a 70s movie. And to me, the 70s are the scariest movies. Suspenseful movies, because of the audio was really, it's very suspenseful. And I go, maybe they're going for that kind of look. Even the color, but the sound too. I was like, wow, it feels like I don't know, the people in the hills or whatever, the people behind the stairs. So, but that gives it that extra eerie kind of suspenseful thing.
Very much so, yes.
Okay, so this was Patty's movie, right? So, George?
Oh, no, I think, I don't like this kind of movies, but I would say this is just him and that what I call masterclass. I'll give it a 10 on that.
Yeah,
Oh, my
I'm giving it
goodness.
a 10 also because
goodness,
like I
wow.
said, it's almost Hitchcockian,
Yeah.
and I thought it was every little thing was done perfectly. The acting was perfect. The direction was perfect. The editing was perfect. Everything was perfect. And they really made every $1 million count.
They really did. I gave it a 6.
Okay. All right. So,
I gave it a 9 because the ending kind of screwed me up.
yeah, the end, I agree. The ending was a little weak.
I would have preferred a different ending, but
not so much to
Distract or anything.
to make me not like the movie.
Yeah.
Right. So you can tell us what you think, and we would be really happy to know. And
we'll be back.
we'll be back next week. See you then.
Do it too.
Bye.
See you guys.